Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. My name is Kayla Gentry. I am the Manufacturing Outreach Manager for the Manufacturing Extension Partnership of Louisiana, which is a huge mouthful, so we tend to say MEPAL. We're a couple minutes from starting. Today's topic is business resilience in times of COVID. With presentations by Liz Shepard of Life City, Chow Wang of LSU IAC, and Joan Lynham of Louisiana Tech, who you should be able to also see on your screen. This is our second webinar of 2021, included in a series of webinars focusing on COVID-19 and business best practices. So just please be on the lookout for upcoming webinars each month. As a participant, you will be in listen-only mode. We do have a question box you should be able to see on the side. Any questions that you have throughout the webinar, please put them in the question box for us and we will answer those accordingly at the end of the webinar for you. This is a live webinar event which will be recorded. After the fact, you should see it on our YouTube channel and you can access it there if you want to share it or review the information. It's there for your use. So again, before we get started, I'm Kayla Gentry. I'd like to just kind of give you a little bit of information about our program, MEPAL. The Manufacturing Extension Partnership is part of a national network under the National Institute of Standards and Technology that works with U.S. manufacturers to create and retain jobs, increase profits, save time and money, develop new customers, and expand into new markets. As you can see, by national network, we do mean there's an MEP located in every state, including Puerto Rico. MEPAL is also part of the Louisiana Community and Technical College System, or LCTCS. As such, we're better able to cover the state of Louisiana as a whole, with project managers located at community colleges throughout the state. Those community colleges do offer services to manufacturers, which help to meet the advanced needs of the manufacturing industry and produce a highly skilled and reliable workforce. So let me get to our speakers today. The webinar will be presented by Liz Shepard of Life City, Chow Wang of LSU IAC, and Joan Lynham of Louisiana Tech. Liz Shepard is the CEO of Life City, created to help build a more equitable and sustainable economy in New Orleans, as well as communities all over the country. Chow Wang is the Assistant Director of the LSU Industrial Assessment Center. The LSU IAC provides free industrial assessments to help manufacturers reduce cost and increase potential savings in areas like energy efficiency, waste minimization, pollution prevention, and productivity. Joan Lynham is an Assistant Professor of Chemical Engineering at Louisiana Tech with an interest in renewable energy and waste management. So now I'll go ahead and pass it over to our presenter. Our first presenter is Liz Shepard, and she will walk you through unique ways to maximize your business and improve efficiencies during the pandemic. So Liz, I'm going to go ahead and change it over to you.
Okie dokie here. Can y'all see this, or is it doing the?
It's still in a small screen as a PowerPoint. If you could just expand your screen there.
Let's see here.
Let's try to click on that presenter view.
Is that working?
I see a
It's all white.
blank screen, just a white screen. That's it.
That's it.
All right, we did it.
You
Right?
got it.
Okay. Pleasure to be with you all today. Thanks so much for taking the time. You know, I think this has been an incredible year for everybody. And, you know, the phrase hindsight is 2020 has its entirely new meaning now. And so as we are emerging into a hopefully growing economy, how do we continue to see the big picture as we return? And so that's the kind of overarching question I have for today's panel. And, you know, one of the things that I think this pandemic has taught us is how everything is interconnected. Our world is interconnected, and what happens in one location affects people everywhere. And similarly, in your business, I think we have a new awareness of how the health of our employees, the ecosystems and supply chains that we depend upon all affect everyone. And so with this greater awareness of interconnectivity, how can we build more resilient businesses? How can we build more sustainable businesses? And today's program, we'd like to feature a particular program called E3, which is Energy, Environment, Economy. And what this program does is, as you know, there are many federal resources out there. It brings together all of those federal resources into a one-stop shop to help your business thrive and be more resilient during these times. And we're going to focus a little bit on two of those federal resources today, the Department of Energy and the EPA, both of whom have resources available at no cost to you as a business to improve your business, to save money. And we all know, especially now, how important that is. So our hope today for this seminar is that you will gain some very specific practical next steps that you can take to improve the effectiveness of your business and really come out strong. As we're reflecting right now, you know, taking the time to look at your business from a holistic perspective and sustainability kind of helps you do that. How can you look at your human resources, your environmental resources, and your economic resources all in an interconnected way? And when you do so, it's not just a cost savings opportunity, it really is a business development opportunity. It's an opportunity for growth, for greater sales. You know, when we look at the growing consumer marketplace, more and more consumers are demanding that companies have sustainability integrated into what they do. And again, when you save energy, right, you're not only becoming more efficient as a business, you're also saving money, and you're also able to tell your customer, hey, I'm doing my part to support the environment. But it always has to have that business sense and that business priority, especially now. But even though you know, manufacturers aren't a direct, you know, B2C market, they are a part of a supply chain that is ultimately a part of a consumer market. And that market demand is only going to increase, as you see in these statistics on my slides here. You know, and the good news for your business, and the reason why sustainability is a business opportunity, is that consumers will actually pay more for a more sustainable product. In addition, you know, employees, especially younger generations, are really interested in working at impactful companies. So when we look at retention rates, we also see that improve as well. And you know, whether you're an employee looking to work at the best company you can, or a consumer looking to buy from the best company you can, you know, consumers don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And especially coming out of this pandemic, when we're asking a lot of questions, right? We're very reflective, and our world has sort of opened up to maybe we don't have to always, you know, do things this way because it's always been done this way. Maybe we can have flexible work arrangements. Maybe we can, you know, automate certain tasks that we couldn't automate previously. So a lot of these shifts in flexibility and innovation are happening because of the pandemic. And so right now, we hope that this program that we're going to talk about today can really help you capitalize on that moment to maximize the growth and development of your business as we come out of the pandemic. So what is the Energy, Economy, Environment program, the E3 program? Well, basically, it's a place-based approach where we gather community technical assistance partners like LSU and LA Tech, who are on the call and will be talking today, and including the SBA, which, as you all, I'm sure, are actively working with the SBA for PPP loans and other resources like that. we bring together local technical assistance partners to create a one-stop shop for manufacturers. So when you look at opportunities for energy efficiency, you'll see that it's connected to also employee health and wellness as well. And I'll talk a little bit about that through a few examples, and then I'll talk a little bit about how the program works, and then we'll go into energy and waste assessments specifically, and you'll get a sense for that. And I'd like to go ahead and welcome the attendees right now. If you could go ahead and put anything that you are hoping to get out of this program, feel free to throw that in the chat. I always want to maximize your time. Everyone's time is very valuable. If you have any burning questions, we'll do our best to answer them, if at all possible. So again, the Energy Economy and Environment Program, the E3 program, takes those place-based, technical experts, creates a one-stop shop for manufacturers to ultimately help them grow and support their businesses and their supply chain. And there's a ton of great resources out there that you may not know about. You may know some things are important, but not know how to go about getting these things done. And there are a lot of great free resources for you to help make your business more efficient and cut those costs at a time that every business is really doing everything it can to survive right now. Ultimately, though, we want you to thrive, and that's the point of this program. So a few case studies of some companies who've gone through the program. Landry Concrete and Cement Industries. They're a cement manufacturing company. And one of the things that we help them discover through our lean assessment, which is a part of the E3 program, is that if they simply, got their fuel, their trucks filled up on site as opposed to in the field, that they saved over $300,000 annually. And through the E3 program, we actually found over $1 million in savings for this company. And what they did with those savings is they reinvested it into worker healthcare benefits to improve their retention rates. The retention rates were not good. And so again, this is an example of why sustainability and resilience is really about looking at the interconnectivity between your human resources and your natural resources. And by improving your management of your natural resources, of the fuel or energy that your business is using, you can sometimes reinvest those cost savings into the human resources or see them be impacted, directly. That is just one case study. I think I already talked through this. Another case study is Royal Coatings. So Royal Coatings was paying every month to have their wastewater, be taken and hauled away as hazardous waste. And their wastewater, because they don't use certain chemicals, really, because of the nature of their business, had to be coded as hazardous. However, it was all organic material. We looked at their operations to find ways to, use their waste stream to reinvest it into a different part of the economy, so that they wouldn't have to pay for that hazardous waste expense, and it could be reintroduced back into the economy and not be, sitting in a dump somewhere. And so through LA Tech, we are able to research and take some of that sample wastewater and test it with concrete manufacturing. And we found out that actually the concrete was even stronger. Now, one of the challenges we did come up with was the fact that the water was colored, that might change the quality of the concrete. And so that project did not move forward, but we're still working on seeing if there are other ways that we can, have that wastewater become clear, and exploring other opportunities in other industries for that wastewater. But the idea here being that, when we look at the big picture, not only within our company, but within our ecosystems, one business's trash is another business's treasure, right? And, for example, and these are problems that we're trying to solve on a large scale. We know another company out in the Laplace area, is spending tons of money on sulfuric acid, waste disposal, and a company, half a mile down the road buys sulfuric acid every day. And we're still trying to figure out if we could tweak that waste product to be an adequate quality level that could that neighboring manufacturer could utilize. But those are the type of innovative solutions that, with a community approach and bringing technical systems providers together, what we can do together to solve. And then we have Folgers coffee. You all probably all know, heard of Folgers, but the largest manufacturer of coffee in the United States. They're located out in New Orleans East, and they are really engaging their team to really set rigorous and impact goals and implement those goals. And the goal is to be zero waste as an entire company. And they have several green team leaders, and this is a great way to engage your team and again demonstrate to both your consumers and to your team that you have a why, you have a mission, you have a holistic perspective of your business, and you're really a community partner in addition to achieving the business goals that you have. And so this has been a really successful program for them. They've gotten a lot of awards from it, and in fact, the green team leader for Folgers has now been promoted to manage the operations of green operations throughout all of the J.M. Smucker's companies. And so, when you see big corporations taking that lead, more and more companies are really setting these rigorous impact goals because of consumer demand. But the benefit is, when you save energy, when you save costs on waste, it not only, reduces your operational costs, it adds retention value, it adds consumer value, and these are all important things to pay attention to, especially coming out of a pandemic, where people are just a little bit more conscious and a little bit more aware of some of these environmental and community challenges. So how does this process work? Basically, this process is a part of a local Love Your City program where we help organizations demonstrate how they give back to the community. And basically, we have a holistic assessment where we can identify, what your impact goals are, where are your opportunities for growth, what are your successes, and how do you want to market those to your community. We base this assessment off of global and international and sector-based standards, and we really bring it down to the local level, the place that we're discussing, whether that be New Orleans or Baton Rouge or Lafayette or anywhere throughout the state. And then we have an award ceremony where we celebrate success. And the process is pretty simple. We have a version of an online assessment you can take, or an in-person or virtual assessment that we can conduct. We're working with even sending cameras into manufacturing facilities to help do that. And then we simply identify opportunities for improvement, and then we help you set those goals. And as you achieve those goals, you can earn badges such as the energy badge, the pollution prevention badge, to demonstrate that your business has hit these goals, has succeeded in implementing these changes, and is actively engaged in building a stronger Louisiana, stronger community, as well as a stronger business. And so that's a pretty simple process. And then what's going to follow is we're going to talk about, again, two of those technical assistance programs. One is the energy assessment, and the second is the waste assessment. So again, just to summarize, the E3 program and this local initiative, the Love Your City initiative, is really here to help businesses gather those local technical experts in a one-stop shop and create that integrated view of sustainability for your company, so you can not have to talk to 10 different people for different things, but really, have it all funnel through one place and be able to see how they all benefit each other, and have a really truly integrated impact game plan for your company, in a marketplace where that's only growing in demand. And our hope, of course, it always is, we really believe we wouldn't be doing this if we didn't think this was good business sense. We really do believe that the more your company is really intentional about impact, whether that be employee health and wellness or your energy management, the stronger your profits will be, your bottom line will be. And I know it can be difficult to find the time to do that, and we're hoping in a pandemic situation that we're in, there might be some more time to take a little bit of a step back and reflect and say, what can I do? Happy to answer any questions, but from there I will pass the torch.
Sure. Thank you, Liz. I'm going to pass it over to Chow.
Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, but it is still in the PowerPoint version if you want to go ahead and make that bigger. There you go. Perfect.
All right. All right, everyone. My name is Chow from LSU, and meantime, and also managing two other federal funded center. One is LSU Industrial Assessment Center. The other one is Louisiana P2 program, which is the pollution prevention program. So as Lise mentioned, in my presentation, I'm going to focus on, how as IEC LSU Industrial Assessment Center, we can help you assess the energy efficiency improvement for your business. So the first slide just give you a basic introduction about our center. And IEC is, it's a USDOE funded program, and there are about 30 some centers around the US. From map, you can see LSU basically covers Louisiana. Occasionally, we go to lower Mississippi for a few assessments as well. So the program has been over 40 years, started from the Department of Commerce after a few years, then took over by USDOE. We mainly focus on small, medium-sized manufacturing facility. And there are two goals for the center. First one is technical assistance, and we do the no-cost assessment for you guys and help you save and reduce the utility cost. And the second goal of the center is for workforce development, is training the future engineers. So every time we are a team of engineering faculty and students going into your facilities and doing assessment for you guys. Some kind of results from the first cycle since 2017. We have done over 50 assessments, in most of them are in Louisiana. Over 300 recommendations we have provided to the facilities, and they're about $5.65 million cost saving of those recommendations provided. We have trained over 40 students. A quick just introduction about how we conduct the assessment. So we typically perform a one-day assessment, and before the assessment day, we're typically getting more information. Before we get into the facility, we call pre-assessment analysis. We're getting some utility bills from you guys and some basic information like how big is the facility and what's your work schedule. And then during the day, it depends what time you guys start to work, and we can meet like at around 8 or 9, depends on how far is it and your work schedule as well. We're gonna have about 30 minutes a kickoff meeting at your facility, just kind of understand your philosophy or history of company, what's your products, what's your concerns, if any. After the kickoff meeting, we do a quick facility tour just to understand the process flow, and to get know where is the each big equipment, right? You have air compressor or boiler. We want to know where is it. And then after that, we're gonna bring over measurement tools, getting more data collected. Eventually, we're gonna provide an assessment report within 60 days of the assessment. In that report, you will see a lot of detailed calculations on how much savings you will get if you implement the recommendation we provided, and how much you have to spend upfront, what's the payback. So basically, we cover 3 areas. So I split them into 3 categories: process support, building and grounds, and administrative. So in the following slides, I'm gonna talk about some examples for each categories. So all those pictures from our previous assessment from different facilities. For process support, and obviously that means all the equipment or the energy spent to support the production flow. For example, it covers air compressors, boilers, if you have heating process, or a water heater or freezer, like chiller, or pumps. Typical recommendations we provide to those facilities, including air compressor. Sometimes if the air compressor was set up too high, it generates over more than you need it, we can, do some measurements, recommend to decrease the pressure produced so we can save some energy there. As we all know, the air compressor is probably the most expensive utilities, probably only 20%. If 20% is energy efficient, that'll be good. And also we look at we're gonna detect if there's any air leakage, and also we're gonna look at if you're using the most energy efficient build. So those are a few examples from the air compressors. For a boiler, we can do some measurement to see the flue gas stacks and to see if the air to gas ratio, if it's the optimized. If it's not, we can give you some recommendations. Maybe you need to bring it back to the optimized level so you can save some natural gas. We also look at the dock insulation, right? If bad insulation is gonna, waste the steam or the energy you generate from the boiler. We also look at your blow down schedule to make sure the heat can be reflected through a economizer. Water heater and pump. Basically, for water heater, we also look at the pipe insulation, and if possible, we also recommend to use a tankless water heater. And that's one example. We assess a food manufacturer. They've been using a tank water heater, electrical water heater all the time, but they only use the hot water at 5 p.m. when everything's done. They just clean it up. So we recommend them to replace a tankless water heater. They save a lot of money from there. Another example is replace or adding a VFD, variable frequency drive, just to control the motors to make sure it's energy efficient. Another example is for the freezer room. If you do have a freezer room for your products, make sure you have a good insulation on the door, weather stripping. Sometimes there's no door, but you have strip curtain, make sure it's well maintained. And also, if you have metal halide in the freezer room that generates a lot of heat, it's gonna eliminate those cooling that you generate from the freezer room. So that's another impact you could have. So for the second category is building and ground. We mainly look at the lighting, renovations, and building envelope tightness and air conditioning and some renewable energy possibilities. For the lighting, this is usually a low-hanging fruit. People, most of the facility you've been to, they start to kind of implement more and more LED lights. They kind of replace LED as they phase out, and especially if you're still using metal halide, high bay, those kind of 1,000 watts high bay lights, you want to consider using a LED high bay light to replace them. You can save tons of money from there. If you are able to use natural light, right, skylight or something, that's the best, right? Always use natural light. And the third example is using a photocell or occupancy sensors to control either a break room or a lunch room or a conference room to make sure when it's not occupied, the light can be automatic turned off. For air conditioning, we always recommend to, first of all, you want to make sure they are different zone, right? If we're talking about zone, is if we're air conditioned or not air conditioned. You already, if it's a workplace, sometimes it's not air conditioned, but if it's an office, it's air conditioned. Make sure they are very well insulated and separated. Otherwise, all those cooling load will be lost in different zones. And the second example is programmable thermostat. We recommend to use programmable thermostat as much as possible, so it can be automatically adjusted based on the temperature of the room. And also make sure you do use it, right? You do program. Some of the facility, they use programmable thermostat, but they don't really program on device. The third one is the building envelope tightness, and that's just really your building walls, windows, and doors. Make sure they are well maintained. There's no breaking window or breaking doors or something. Make sure they get replaced as soon as they got, they are broken or something. Another possibility, and we had a few assessment on white roof. This is if you have a white roof, typically you get more radiation got reflect back instead go through the roof. So that's one of good practice. Solar panel, right now without the state incentive, the payback could be long. Before 2018, usually, people do it like, this is no brainer. People do it like as quick as possible. Right now, since the state incentive is gone, payback's quite long. But still, if it's something you want to consider, we can do analysis for you. If install a solar panel, what could be the possible payback? Methane generation, that's if you do have a waste collection pool, we can do analyze for you how much does it make sense for you to collect all the methane for regenerate the natural gas or reuse it for your heater or boiler. Third category is for administrative control. So those small things are usually don't cost you much, but are very easily being neglected. For example, sometimes you have late payment, so you don't really pay attention to your utility bills. Those are easy one to fix. So don't get penalty from your late payment, and also be aware of your bill incentives available if you are a energy users. The energy does provide some incentives if you can do some energy improvement on lightings or building envelopes. So if you want to know information, you can contact me later on. And charging schedule is if you do have some electrical device, such as like forklift, min lift to charge, but you have demand charge in your bills. So there could be some saving opportunities for you to make sure when you charge them, don't charge at a peak time. So you can save some demand charge there. Routine maintenance is make sure you have a good maintenance management or protocol in your business to do we do a preventive maintenance as recommended. You want to do a maintenance before the hand, not when like when you do it after it happens, usually it's already too late. Another good practice is always turn off the equipment when it's not being used. But of course, first of all, is if it's possible, right? If it's possible, turn it off. So that's a good practice there as well. So that's pretty much what we have. And so some final takeaway I will provide is we want to make sure all the business to have a strategy on your own business goal on energy efficiency. If you want to know more, if you want to apply this no-cost assessment, you can just go through this. You can contact me or just use this QR code just to access our application request. And we're here to help all the Louisiana business, trying to make sure we, make Louisiana a better place in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Chow. I'm going to swap it over to Joan now.
All right, is there a prompt here somewhere? There it is. All right. So let me put this up. And can you see it?
Yes, perfect.
Good.
All right. Well, I'm Joan Lynham, and I'm at Louisiana Tech. And I'm here to talk to you about waste. This is just my team. You can see that we're a pretty diverse group and that this picture is taken prior to COVID, but we're a diverse team. And basically, what we're interested in is using waste for sustainable business development. So the worst thing you can do with your waste is just dispose of it. So that's not a good thing. And some hazardous waste, you're going to have to treat it, which is also expensive, before you can even dispose of it. It's better to do things like recycling. So for example, many people recycle their cardboard. They can send it to a recycler and not have to pay for waste disposal. Even better thing to do is to reuse it inside the facility or elsewhere, but I'm most excited about preventing this sort of pollution to start with. So basically what my work is I take companies' wastes and I try to figure out a way to convert them into products they can either use in-house so that they don't have to buy new material, or that they can sell it to somebody else. So basically what I like companies to do is send me a sample of their waste, and I try to figure out a way to make it into a product so they don't have to pay for its disposal. So the first one, I'm going to give you a couple of examples of things that I've done with various wastes. And I want to talk first to you about fly ash. Now, fly ash is what happens after you burn coal in a coal power plant, which there are fewer and fewer coal-powered plants. My brother actually used to work for one he managed to retire before it shut down, but there are fewer and fewer ones, and new coal-powered plants are not being built. So there's some fly ash. So you can get fly ash from things, or you can get ash from biomass. So I'm particularly interested in food production waste. So I've worked with rice husks. Those are the husks that come off of rice, and they don't really have any use, so they really are a waste. Animals don't like to eat them. So I found that one thing you can do with these is you can combust them, and that gives you heat energy, so you get some energy out of it. You then have rice husk ash left over, and if you put that into cement, it actually makes the cement stronger. So that's an example of how I've made something that's a waste into a product. Another industry I'm interested in is paper mills. Paper mills cut down trees and they process them to separate the lignin from the cellulose. The cellulose they make into paper, but they have a waste that's called black liquor that's very corrosive. It's very high pH or very alkaline. And black liquor, well, you say black liquor, people think, oh, you drink it. No, it doesn't have any alcohol in it. You don't want to try that. So it's a waste product, but it's very high pH. So that's one industry I'm interested in. Another one I'm interested in galvanizing facilities, which Liz talked about one galvanizing facility. Their waste product is used sulfuric acid, that little molecule on the left. I'm a chemical engineer, so you got to have a model of a chemical. This is what a sulfate looks like. So this yellow is sulfur, and these reds are oxygen. Those are hydrogens. The used sulfuric acid from galvanizing facilities has iron and zinc contamination, and that's why it's difficult to send it to the facility down the road in order to use it as sulfuric acid. So that's another industry I'm interested in. Finally, I want to talk about blast furnaces that make steel. So basically, blast furnaces have steel wastes that are associated with them. Things like red dust or mill scale or blast oxygen furnace slag or iron ore fines. And so they've got these wastes. So we got a hold of some of them and we figured out, well, gee, what could we do with some of these wastes? So one thing, since there's less fly ash now, and there will be even less in the future, we're thinking about putting the fly ash, the steel waste, as a replacement for the fly ash in what are called geopolymers. So what are geopolymers? Sounds kind of a weird word, huh? Basically, they are a kind of cement that's faster setting and more environmentally friendly than regular cement. So the way to make geopolymers is to take whole fly ash and to mix it with different kinds of silicates and sodium oxides. So you take fly ash, these alkaline reagents, you mix them with water, you end up with a geopolymer cement. So that's what geopolymers are. They're like polymers, except they're inorganic rather than organic. And so I decided, okay, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the waste from these industries I just talked about to make two different products. So the first one is taking steel waste and replacing fly ash to make strong geopolymers. I'm gonna move that down so we can see better. There we go. Oh, I still can't see it. All right. So that's one way to use steel waste. The second way was to combine 3 different industries that I talked about. First, the paper plant has this black liquor stream, which is very alkaline. The galvanizing industry has a sulfuric acid stream. If you combine something that's an acid with something that's an alkaline, you get a neutral product and you precipitate out something called lignin. Now, lignin is a good binding product. It's good at binding things. So we put lignin into our other product, a briquette, with geopolymer reactants and also with steel waste. So we made what's called a reducing briquette, which could feed back into a blast furnace. So you're reusing some of the iron that's in the steel waste to make more steel. So that's one product. And of course, the strong geopolymer from replacing fly ash with steel waste is the other product. So this kind of means that you can reuse the steel waste in the same industry so that you don't have to buy new iron ore, and that's helpful for the environment as well. So in conclusion, waste can be reused to form new products, and sometimes you can reuse them in the same facility, so you don't have to buy new virgin material. Waste can also not enter the natural environment if they become part of the built environment as a geopolymer. And we need things like cement in order to build roads and buildings and so on. And finally, if you use these kinds of waste in geopolymer, it means that you don't have to have quite as much ordinary Portland cement made. Ordinary Portland cement is very detrimental to the environment. There's very high energy costs involved in mining the cement, in heating it up to very high temperatures to make what's called clinker, and in grinding the clinker to make the cement you might buy at Lowe's or Home Depot. And in my future work, I'm looking to do at hibiscus waste from Happy Raptor, which is a distillery. Also looking at garnet waste from corrosion materials. So I'm looking forward to doing that. So if you have any waste at your company that you want to get rid of, I would love to have them and try to make some kind of good product out of them. I want to thank Life City, EPA, and LSU and MEPL for letting me work at this. So if you have any questions you don't get answered in the session, please do email me at lineham@latech.edu. So thanks.
Thank you, Joan. Thank you, Liz and Chow as well. You guys go ahead and please take this time to put your questions in the question box. I know these presenters would be happy to answer them. I don't see anything yet, so you guys, let us know what questions you have. Other than that, I did want to let the audience know that as soon as you hop out of this webinar, you will receive a survey. It really helps us to tailor our content and find out what your needs are as a manufacturer so that we can speak to the most relevant topics just for what you guys are going through right now. And Liz, Joan, and Chow, if you guys had any other information you kind of wanted to impart on the audience, you certainly can. I don't see any questions at this time.
I just wanted to react what Liz said. If you're not throwing out your waste, and if you're trying to find a way to put them into a product, it does make your employees feel better about their work there. They feel like, yeah, we're contributing, we're not throwing away as much stuff, we're reusing it.
Yeah, another thing I want to mention is right now I'm in the Governor's Climate Initiative Task Force Committee. I'm one of the subcommittee member under Manufacturing Industry Committee. So we're working, long-term goal is Louisiana is trying to realize the 2050 net zero greenhouse gas emission goal by 2050. So we're working on developing some standards and regulations, to help manufacturing facilities. For example, if you have any recommendations or comments you want us to deliver to the governor's office, just contact me, let me know. I'll make sure to that will be included in our next discussion. For example, like I mentioned, the solar panel state incentive, we might propose to bring it back next year or in 2 years, just to make sure people are interested in pursuing this new or green energy or new energy. Yeah, stuff like that. If you have any comments or for your business specifically, any specific comments, just let us know, and we'll make sure it'll be heard from the chain, the top chain of top of the chain.
Thank you, Chow. I do also want to say that, of course, you can always reach out to me, Paul, to get in touch with any of these folks. We love connecting you with the right resources for your needs. So, you can always reach out to me, kayla.gentry@mepaul.org, or any other of our folks on our website, mepaul.org. But at this time, I still don't see any questions. So that must mean you guys did an awesome job explaining, all of your content. So thank you all very much. This has been very informative. And again, if the audience has any questions or anything after the fact, please don't hesitate to contact me, and I can connect you with the right person. So, all right. Well, thank you all so much. And thanks everyone for attending.
Thanks, Maple, for making this happen. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. All right. You guys have a great day.
Thank you, Kayla. Thank you, everyone.